Hello heart seekers and nature lovers, welcome to Miskiani. My name is Karen Weinman and I'm a Pampamesayoq, an Andean shaman trained by the Q'eros high in the Andes mountains of Peru, who are indigenous to that area and are direct descendants of the Incas. If these kind of topics fascinate you, then please like this channel. You'll get notifications every time I come up with a new video on one of these topics. So today I want to talk about weaving nature. It's a double meaning for a reason, and let me start with something that I've said in previous videos, that I teach this the way I was taught, and that is orally. Yes, everything that I have learned as a Pampamesayoq came through word of mouth. So a Q'ero spoke to me. He told me stories, legends, told me how to do practices, used his oral power for initiations. Everything comes through the voice, and it is an amazing, fascinating mystery, because there is no written language and there's no mathematics. They do not have this modality in their culture. And of course, this is something that has fascinated scientists and archaeologists for a long time. And literally only in the last few years, maybe even last year, the year before, maybe 2 years ago, someone had a breakthrough about what a qipu was. And a qipu, I put a photo on the front page of this video. I'll also put a link to a blog above that is on my website where there's a photo of it if you want to go and look. Akipo is the closest word we have in English is a kind of weaving. Yes, it's a strange looking thing that has a piece of twine with twine hanging off it, and then they're knotted, and they're knotted in all different ways, grouped in different ways. There is a whole language in this kind of weaving called a qipu. And they've started to discover that through these qipus, they are able to keep track of history, of anything to do with numbers, so they can keep track of harvests, agreements between communities, all kinds of fascinating arts. There's not much that they know about it, but they've discovered it and they're literally sorting it out now. So learning more about it now. So they're starting to discover that there are recording devices, but they're not in the way that we know them in the West, right? So we are used to writing, we're used to maths, things like that, whereas for them it's through their weavings. So the other way that a lot of this life is recorded for them and handed down through the lineages is through the weaving of fabrics, yes? Through weavings that have been handed down from generation to generation. In fact, the Q'eros start when they're very little. When they're small children, they start learning how to weave. Regardless of sex, male and female do weavings, and they learn from their grandmothers and their mothers and their grandfathers all the symbology that has been handed down for hundreds of years, and the colors, because they all have symbology to them. And so they work with the symbols that are important to them. Pachamama, the earth, right? Ietiski Wirakocha, the source of all of life, yes? Llamas, which they have a very close relationship with, living high up in the mountains, with trees, with stars, with Mama Kia, the moon, everything, all right? This symbology starts to come through in their weavings, yes? Learning which colors to use, etc., etc. So they grow up in a culture where the weaving holds their history and communicates. It's a recording device, yes? And so let me show you some cloths here so you can get some idea. I mean, the one that I have around my neck, yes, comes from near Asangate. Each tribe, each part of the Q'ero nation have their own ways, their own colors of weaving. But as I said, they also have their certain symbology. So you can see here, there's Pachamama. We've got the sun. There are colors that represent the feminine, colors that represent the earth, yes? All these beautiful symbologies weaved into their fabric that holds their history and their knowledge. yes? And then what I find even more fascinating is that for the people in the Q'ero Nation that hold some kind of sacred role, so an initiate, a priest, they, once they have passed their initiation, so they become a Pampamesayoq or an Altomasayoq or whatever it might be, all right, they then weave their own ponchos and their own hats. I'm sure you've seen the hats with the bobbles, yes, that they all wear, yes. They weave them themselves for specific reasons, yes. So what happens is what gets weaved into here has to do with what they honor and what they have connection and relationship with, yes. So the weavings start to go from not only being a recording device of a lineage, but also start to hold energetic connection, because as they weave those threads together, they call in the nature beings that they are close to, or the ones that they honor, or the ones that they wish to get to know, etc. And they pull that energy in and they weave it into the fabric, the very fabric of what they are then going to wear. So, for example, my poncho, this one has water through it. It's one of my strengths as a pampa, is working with water. Yes, there's water that runs through it, there's community, all the strengths that have meaning for me as a Pampamesayoq are in here, yes? And so there's precise frequencies and connections that are held in those fabrics. So not only is it about the relationship with those nature beings, but there is an energetic weave that is wrapped around their physical bodies. It's not that they need those to operate, but it is part of their culture and records a story and tells you what kind of priest you are working with. When you look at what they are wearing, you can see where they come from by the colors, because you get to learn which parts of which Q'ero nations wear pink and which ones have red as a dominant color, or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of information that is recorded, but it's not by writing, yes? It's through these beautiful, beautiful fabrics and these weavings that they make. And then, of course, I mean, if any of you have come here and joined me for ceremony, even on my online workshops, you'll see they're always in the back on the altars, yes? They are part of my surroundings and part of my speciality, so that when I'm working, those energies are in the room. They are together with us. Those nature beings are saying hello. Yes? So it's a very, very beautiful art. And why did I want to share this with you? It's not just because, of course, that the weavings are so beautiful, right? But it's such an exquisite art. But also, I think it's a great way to describe to people who have no idea about this path the invisible workings of this tradition. And when I start teaching people, I go very, very slowly and slowly stop, I teach orally. People start to learn, their minds start to understand what this is about, or who is involved, who the nature beings are, what's the Quechua meaning of certain words and why we use them. But at the same time, my relationships get called in with the nature beings. Pachamama, all right, or I call the water, and so it comes into the space and it starts to dance with the participants that are with me, and it's like a live weaving of energy that starts to come in. And that is why I don't just teach in a weekend or teach very quickly, that my workshops are over weeks or months or even the year program, right? Because there is a lot that is being weaved within you. Pachamama brings her energy and starts to weave through your body, right? She starts to weave through your aura, through your meridians. She starts to integrate with you, yes, in a way that's gentle and kind and loving. And so little by little we begin to build this. And for people who have never been on this path, their minds find it very hard to understand what this is about. And that's why I always say, please trust your heart, because your heart can read that, it can see it. When you meet when you meet a Pampamesayoq or, you know, an initiate of this Andean path and they feel powerful, it's because you can feel those relationships that are weaved through them. It's not just the physical that you're seeing in front of you, it's all these other invisible realms that come with them, yes? And that is why the Q'eros always talk about that nature does the work, that they are just the channel for it, yes? But of course, they hold the practices in reality for us, which is just exquisite, yes? So the next time you see a weaving, know that it's just not a cloth. The next time I offer a training, know that you're going to be learning with all levels of who you are, especially energetically, as you start to dance with the nature beings themselves. A fascinating topic. If it's brought up any questions for you, please comment below because I will answer you. And again, if you want to see photographs of these weavings and others, I've put a blog up on the misskiani.com website. The link will be below in the description so you can go and have a look. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.